So I wanted to do a quick video about how I start developing a fashion collection. So often I start with gathering inspiration. One of the resources I use is Pinterest, but also other areas from around the internet. Usually I will use Pinterest as a point for finding some inspiration, and then I will move on to researching specific topics. So an example of something that I have here is I have a board that I keep that I throw everything into that just kind of inspires me about fashion, looking at different fashion, historic and modern. And I have a lot of fashion collections in here right now that I need to move to my fashion drawings board. But sometimes I've even had some stuff that's come in where it's like maybe it's AI, but it has an idea that I like that I think could be actually executed. Sometimes it's stuff that comes from costume wear. Sometimes it's accessories. So I think when I'm looking through this, I have defined it into a couple like specific categories. I have like fantasy fashion, artistic dress is something that I'm currently really into, fantasy inspired, a little goth, enchanted maximalism, prairie glam, fall vibes. This was a collection I was working on gathering inspiration for, which was my fall winter 2022 collection. It's dragged on for a couple years now. So you can probably tell I really like fall. I think for this video, I'm going to focus on this enchanted maximalism idea. So the ideas I've been collecting around enchanted maximalism are these pieces of like fairy tale or to some degrees historic fashion being brought into a modern context. I definitely like the idea of a modern like leather armor working as outerwear. I like the idea of these like overly embellished pieces. This somewhat fits into that artistic dress ethos. I liked these vests and their ability to have almost brocade or tapestry-like qualities. I liked whimsicality. And so these are the things that I'm going to start looking at when I'm thinking about designing my collection. So the first thing that I like to do is come in, make a board like this where I'm just filling it with things that I feel like fit this aesthetic. And I'm not going to try to pull any one piece directly out of here because these are pieces that have already been created by another designer. What I'm trying to think of is what are designs that fit within this world. So I'm going to now pull up my sketchbook and my camera, and we're going to just think about some of the things that I feel are key to this enchanted maximalism idea. So some keywords that I'm going to jot down here are, first I'm going to write out my overall idea. So I have enchanted maximalism. So I'm going to say, let's see, whimsical, armor as outerwear, let's see, I also like the idea of like frills meets utility. Sorry, get that centered here. Let's see, what else? We could also, let's see, talk about like layers. That's a pretty common. I definitely want contrast of materials. So these are some ideas. I'm going to keep this section open just a little bit more. And then I also want to talk about, like, who is this collection for? So the who, or I've talked about this with some of you, who is your girl that you're designing for, or your guy? Who is the person that is the target audience for your collection? Who's that person? So for me, this is going to be, let's see, I'm just going to use she, because often when I'm designing with an idea of a person, but it's almost like a fantastical view of myself. Like, who is she, and who is she dressing for? So I'm going to say, let's see, she is creative, has flexibility, in mind when selecting pieces. I'm going to say she likes to mix and match. Let's see, what else? I think that she embraces whimsy. I also like to add in some aspirational things, you know. She is confident and quirky. So this gives me a little bit of idea about who I'm designing for. You might, if you looked at some of the client profiles, there might already be a description of kind of the person that they're thinking about designing for. And so from this point on, I'm going to just create some like little sketches about things that I'm thinking about. I kind of like intake a lot, and then I put that all aside, and I want to think about pieces that I know that I want. So I might do that by just like starting with like little sketches where I'm like, okay, I know like there's like all of this like really drapey stuff that I could do, where it's like almost like Greek inspired. But I also really like keeping things like a little utilitarian. So I can make some little thumbnail sketches like this. I can also write out pieces that I know I want. That can be a good place to start too. So if I think about this as a capsule collection, I might think, okay, I want at least, let's see, I want at least a skirt. Let's see, I'll definitely want a pair of pants and a dress. So if I have 2 tops that go with that, that's 3 looks. And then I definitely want an outerwear look. Let's see, at least 2 tops. So that's 4 looks. I need 1 more for my 5-look collection. Let's do, maybe we leave that one a little bit open. So if I'm like feeling like, oh, I really want to throw in another skirt or pants, I can figure that out in the course of my collection. The next thing that I start doing is I start working on my figure drawings. So those will start from thumbnails, and I like to think about how they're going to be laid out across 5 looks. So I might start and say, okay, I really like bookending mine with like models facing inwards towards the center of the page. So I might just think about how I am positioning these models. Let's see, maybe I want to exude this confidence, like this idea of adventure. So here, while I'm coming up with these words, I'm going to write them up here too. And I don't want to get like so many words it doesn't mean anything, but if I'm coming up with a word that's helping me envision what this collection is about, I definitely want to be mentioning it. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm going to pull the camera up so that we can see what's going on down here. Alright, so I'm working on this. Let's do like a good hand. Okay. So, let's see, we have that model. I might extend the legs a little bit, actually. It kind of depends. I don't always extend to the full fashion portion because when I end up making these clothes, I make them in my size. Okay. We'll keep it about like that. Alright, let's see. Maybe I want... It would almost be cool to have, like, the movement of a twirl, because I would have 3 in between here, so I could kind of get, like, a turn. So let's do this piece with, like, a little bit of a over-the-shoulder thing, which could be fun because I could do something really cool on the back. I think that's what I'm thinking about this here. And let's cross these legs. So, oh, let's see, she's looking over her. I always have to think about feet like this. Okay. It's going about like that, yeah. There we go. And then we have the same thing happen here. Let's do, maybe not even facing the back. Just like turning a little bit. Yeah, it'd be turning a little bit, then I'd have the facing the back here. Okay, let's rearrange these legs slightly. Alrighty, so if we have this, now this leg is gonna come across. We're gonna have a leg go like this, yeah. Still keeping things very confident. And then I think I want this piece to have maybe kind of an exuberance of like that twirl. And then I'll have another one doing this kind of facing, and maybe, maybe I do want the back there and like a reverse of this. Let's just draw it in and see how we're looking. That's too similar. let's just draw some like looks in, and then I can decide if I want to change them up. Okay. Maybe this is the view from the back, where it's like a little strange to do a back view as part of your like lineup, but I think it could be fun, especially if I make sure that this outfit just like has a really cool back. If this was an actual set of designs, each one of these would end up getting their own more detailed drawings anyway. So this is just kind of my idea for the whole collection, as though I was giving a little preview of what an even bigger collection would look like. And then I definitely want this one turned in all the way. And we can kind of bookend this form here, I think. Except for maybe we cross the legs in the other way. Oh, that's a little bit big for ankles. Now that I have just kind of my basic idea figured out about what these forms are going to look like, I'm going to redraw them, but I'm going to spend time fleshing them all out and working on the outfits. For this example, I am going to try to draw them all together, and so I need to divide up my page a little bit. So I'm gonna have to come here and adjust this camera, and I'm gonna start this in another video. But I want to kind of like look at this and say, okay, this is about how much space I have. I actually have a little bit more space on the marker and color pencil paper as well as the watercolor paper. So I might draw 3 of them and then 2 on another page. I think that's a smart idea. The other option is I could say, okay, I think it's 11 by 14. And this is 9 by 12, so if I draw them a little smaller, 1 per page, I could then arrange them. Let's do that version where I'm drawing them one at a time. So meet me in video 2 to see how I'm going to draw each of my little characters and put them together.